Welcome to Kim and Angela Talk. Kim is a biodynamic craniosacral therapist, PSYCH-K facilitator, curious human, forever student, and a loving mum. Angela is a Reiki master, PSYCH-K facilitator, metaphysical nerd, compulsive learner, and childless cat lady. Come along for the ride as they explore the mysteries of the universe and their own lives, all while enjoying a good laugh together.
Hi, I'm Angela.
And I'm Kim.
And together we're Kim and Angela Talk. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Angela. Hi, audience.
Oh, yeah. Hi, audience. How you doing?
Doing okay. You're doing okay today, too, I hope?
Yeah, things are good. Things are good.
Excellent.
So today we are going to talk about gratitude and daily rituals and infusing those sorts of things in your life and like the meaning behind these and our connectedness. Is that about right?
I think that's
that about right.
Our theme for today. Yeah.
Yeah, because I got that this meaning from this card from my Water Alchemy Oracle deck here. And it was basically about infusing gratitude into your daily life and into your daily rituals. Because, we all have to drink water. It's part of life. You got to put that in there or else you end up, dead.
Yeah, exactly. It is important.
Right?
Yeah.
And specifically the card talks about since you have to drink water, why not take the time to make a blessing for the water, so that it enhances your appreciation, your gratitude for the water, show the water how much, that your gratitude for its life-giving properties. It's actually interesting too, because I have actually these little sacred geometry glasses. They've got you probably can't see it.
Oh,
And
yes.
it's like a circle flower of life on the bottom, in gold. And I also, my water pitcher, I also have a little note card that I wrote love and pink highlighter on it. And so I keep the water on there because of the water crystals. And I should have looked up the guy's name, but the water crystal guy,
Hashimoto? I want to say
yeah, I think it's
Moto.
Yeah, something like that. I've got the books on my shelf.
Me too.
Right. But that's how prepared I am. So, but so I do that, and I put it because these glasses are supposed to help with structuring the water as well. So, but also I do that just kind of to keep the water structured and to make it more bioavailable, because a lot of times you drink water and kind of goes right through you. You're not necessarily using it all. So this makes it really lovely. Makes it so I'm like more hydrated, I guess, than I would be otherwise if I was just drinking, tap water or whatever.
Right.
So, but I don't necessarily think every time I'm drinking the water about being grateful for it. So, I think I'm going to start to do that. Say, thank you, water, have actually also show it a little love before I drink it. I think that's a really good idea.
And I'm just going to bring up, because I think in the past when I was learning Reiki from you, that you talked about using Reiki to charge.
Oh, yes.
As well. That's an option, I think.
Yeah, and I do that at home because I don't have these are my little glasses I have in my office because for clients who come in, I pour them a little bit of water,
right.
So it's already structured and it tastes much better. And you can actually tell the difference. But also at home, what I do is I charge my water with Reiki, also bless my food with Reiki. I also like tea, especially any kind of medicinal tea. Like if I drink something that's like an herbal tea or anything, or for a specific purpose, I'll also use Reiki to bless that, and also ask for it to be enhanced, the nutritional values or whatever medicinal benefits to be enhanced with Reiki. But also when I eat, I will bless my food with Reiki. And I also say, thank you to Mother Earth for providing the bounty, and also to all the farm workers, the farmers, the people who ship the food to the stores, all the people at the grocery store, everybody responsible for bringing that bounty to me. I say thank you to them when I bless my food with Reiki. And it's really quick. It's easy. And it also kind of just, I don't know, it makes it a little bit more special because honestly, where would we be without all those people?
Oh,
I mean, unless you're growing your own food, which is great,
yeah,
but how many of us do that these
right.
days? I know you do have a garden.
Yes,
Um,
but yeah.
yeah,
The deer and I share it. Yep.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, and I used to have a bit of a garden, but, that's not really possible right now, so, but even still, you still wanna, can use Reiki to bless your plants, and if you
Mhm,
don't have Reiki, they've done lots of studies about, just expressing love to plants or, showing gratitude to plants in your food, also puts that positive energy into the
mhm,
food, into plants, so just again, and you can make that a daily ritual, you can
mhm.
and it actually kinda like, I feel, enhances the connectedness that
Yes.
we all share, because like, you get this food, so say you go to the grocery store and you buy a bunch of produce and whatever to bring home to make for dinner for your family. Well, you know, where does all that stuff come from? It comes from, like, all over the world nowadays, right?
Mhm,
But
mhm.
where would you be without them? So in a very real and tangible sense, the food that you buy from the grocery store is yet another visual representation of our connectedness with everyone on this planet, with
Mhm,
everything on this planet,
mhm.
because we are receiving the bounty of the earth, we are receiving it's like so much, this beautiful energy, not just from the what you're eating, but also from the people responsible to bringing it to you.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's a big long chain. It's
Mhm,
all connected. So yeah, definitely to be thankful for. So it's interesting, kind of talking about the Reiki, having the intention for things, goes back to even old school when people, would pray before they eat and be thankful for the dinner in front of them, right? That's kind of old school religion way of how it was viewed. But it really just comes down to taking that moment and
mhm,
having that gratitude. And it means a lot for everyone going down, ripple effect, right? With just having that
absolutely,
little attention. Definitely agree. So I love the theme for today. So
yes.
very exciting. So maybe we'll start off. So my first message that I got for the theme or
Yeah,
related to the theme.
perfect.
So the message that I got today was from the magical messages fairies deck. This is an old deck that I've had forever, but it's one of my favorites. The messages are usually pretty simple and straightforward. So, interestingly enough, this was the card. So it's the daughter card, and at the bottom, it's got the answer to your question involves your daughter. Well, I didn't really have a question, was looking more for a message. Anyway, I looked in the booklet, and so it was in the additional meanings for the card message. And the message that came out was allow your inner child to play and enjoy him or herself. This will fill your heart, and your entire life will benefit as a result, as will your relationships. And I think that kind of ties nicely into, you know, not the rituals, the drinking the water. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be playful. So not to stress about it, not to make it some other big chore that you have to do um, related to it. Be playful with it and experiment with how things feel and what you can come up with that feels like an easy fit for your day. To just find that moment of gratitude, maybe while you're driving, traffic was late, you know? So, yeah, so just about being playful. I think we take things too seriously and for a lot of things, and just to be more playful with it, and we'll reap the benefits of that playful, um, joyful approach to having gratitude. Like I said, even if you just, if somebody lets you in, when you're at a stop sign and there's a whole line of traffic and somebody lets you in, just have gratitude with how sweet that was that person, just let you in. Like even just in that little moment, just a little thing, obviously signal thank you, but also to just say how kind that was that that person was there for when you were going in, and just So it can be just
Oh, yeah.
little things like that, right? It doesn't have to be grandiose. Oh my gosh, okay, I have to do X, Y, Z. No, just like in the moment. But think, oh, that was really nice. And just have appreciation for that. You
Well, and also, it helps to make that person feel good too,
know? Hmm.
or at least, not make them feel taken advantage of or,
Hmm.
taken for granted
Well,
or whatever,
energetically,
it could
hopefully
be
they'll be receiving
kinda
the
nice.
appreciation, you know?
Yes, absolutely. So gratitude in so many aspects, and like you said, it doesn't take a lot,
Hmm.
just being like,
Yeah. And then
"Thank you."
also being conscious that maybe then the next time that you're in a line and somebody's looking again, and then you extend that to them too, right? Pay it forward as well. So that there's this kind of yin yang effect. That's good.
Yeah, it would be nice if more people
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, we were talking about this earlier today, that like a lot of people are distracted.
Yeah.
We've got so many things on our minds, and driving becomes one of those things that we're thinking while we're just kind of automatically going through the motions of driving, which is not great. And, so to try and bring it back and to be more conscious of other people around you, and you don't know what kind of day they're having. And like I said, when someone extends you kindness, you think, oh, that was like, so nice. And then you have those good feelings, and then you consciously then will think to extend that out to others. And so if everybody kind of got in that frame of reference, then yeah, the driving situation would be a kinder, a happier place, as opposed to sometimes a frustrating place, depending on the
Yeah.
day. So,
Also, if everybody would learn how to zipper merge, that would be amazing.
that would be a good one. I know. See, again, it's kind of like, everybody's trying to like go ahead, but it ends up stalling everything so much more. And it's like,
Yeah.
again, kindness extended outward, and just allowing everybody.
Yeah.
You're not going to get there any later or any sooner if you push through. It's just,
I know, and a lot of that too is about allowing for the flow of life. You
right.
going with the traffic analogy, if you
Mhm.
kind of, showed some kindness and courtesy while you're driving,
Mhm.
just as you are with life, things would also just flow better.
Agreed.
Everything would flow better. And back to water, what does water do? It flows,
Yeah.
and it's very much a visualization or a metaphor in Taoism for how life flows,
Mhm.
and being able to, when you go with the flow of life, you get, like you said, you get where you're going, you get where you're supposed to be going.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
It actually kind of ties a little bit into my message,
mhm.
sort of, which is a little weird because it's like my message was very much about the flow of life, but and what you're gathering and bringing into the flow of life.
Mhm.
And, you know, like, what is it? What's worthy of your attention, and what is best to be left behind? Because if you're going with the flow of life, you're going along with what's in and picking up what's worthy, what you really need to focus on, what you need to be, where you need to be putting your energy, and you can just leave aside the things that you don't need. Because I should do my card here. Was my card, the Bard's Collection, and it was very much, when we are young, we want to own it all. As we become older, we become more patient. We are able to, oh, and it's from the Sacred Hags deck, by the way. We become more patient and also realize, well, maybe I don't need everything. It's kind of like when I was younger, I would collect things and, buy little trinkets or whatever. And I just ended up with a lot of junk, honestly. And then now it's like, I don't need all of that stuff. I don't need to buy things. I don't need to allow that materialism. It is kind of funny though, because it did talk about this in this message about like collecting certificates, and I was like, "Whoops, I might have a little bit of a problem with
Still
that."
doing that? Yeah, no.
And everything I do though kind of goes together and
Yes,
flows into
exactly.
the same goal, And I will say there are certificates I've contemplated that it's like I don't really need to do that. So I feel like I
There's
am learning
there's
that lesson.
discernment between the ones that
Yeah.
are important, so you're not taking everything, it's just
Yes.
the important ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I am definitely working with stuff that's synergistically, although it is so tempting sometimes to be like, "Oh, well, that's interesting, and I wouldn't mind learning that." So, But, all in good time,
Yeah.
and also kind of pacing yourself with that. But yeah, being able to see what is worthy of our energy, what would be better left outside, what would be better that we need to bring within our field and into like maybe the things that we know or our knowledge or skills, or and what do we just leave behind, just like glaciers or rivers or whatever. It takes the things that it needs, but it leaves a lot of detritus behind.
Mhm.
So it's kind of interesting, and also feeling like because of that, even with all the stuff that I learned, there's lots of tools and techniques that go along with that. But it's not that I don't necessarily use everything.
Mhm.
I use
Mhm.
what works for me. I use the tools and techniques that I learn in a way that works for me. I don't have to do it the same way as other people do, and I don't have to use everything that I've ever learned.
Right.
I can refine that to something that is actually unique to me, but also effective for me in the way that I work.
Mhm. Well, and I think it's also a case of trusting your intuition and trusting
Mhm.
that you have within you, with all of your learning, that what you're going to need is going to come up for you. And
Yes.
you can trust that the right things will come up, you know.
Mhm.
And so you don't need to know everything and remember everything, because something will come to you that you haven't used maybe in months or even a year or so, and it'll pop back into your head and you're like, oh, and maybe that particular client is going to need that particular thing, and you haven't
Yeah.
been thinking about it, but it comes up, organically. It just comes up because it's there, but it's maybe not something that you're using all the time. So having that trust and belief that it will. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's important.
When it's funny too, I'm looking now at my wrists in the video, and I was like, all these like crystal bracelets and stuff is like, oh, maybe I'm collecting a little too many crystal bracelets.
They're gorgeous, though. I love them, and they all
I
have
know, I
meaning
love
and
it too.
purpose.
They all have a purpose. That's the
They
thing. They
do.
all have a purpose.
Exactly.
So, and I actually have more that I don't wear.
Oh.
I don't wear them all at once, but that also means that yes, I do have more of these
Oh, I love it.
necklaces,
I love it.
rings. So sometimes it's a little hard to get rid of that tendency to collect
Yeah.
things,
But the
but
thing is, that's the kind of things too, though, I think, like with other things that we work with that, may be of use at a given point in time in our life, and then it's
Mhm.
okay to let them go when they no longer serve and they're no longer required. So, things come in, come in.
Yeah.
I think it's when we kind of try and like hold everything, and maybe it is,
Yeah.
that's the thing, is kind of when you've, yeah,
Get to a hoarder stage.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna claim that I'm the exception to that rule. I'm gonna say that I do tend to also collect things.
Well, I will say after I got divorced, I spent a lot of time getting rid of stuff that we had carried around for years and years. And after that's actually kind of what cured me of a lot of like collecting
Mhm,
need and being a lot more selective because of all the trips to the dump and to Goodwill
mhm.
of stuff that, just
You just
was
manage it out.
unnecessary.
Yeah, you just
Yeah,
manage
and
it.
also yeah, I mean, and some stuff that actually got ruined because of, storage issues and whatever,
Right.
and it's just kinda like and, like, part of that too is, like, there is a lot of materialism in our culture,
Mhm,
this sort of, like, need to, like, own and possess things, but, like, what do you really need?
mhm,
What do you really need everything? What can be repurposed, can be given away. There was in this for this card, the Bard's collection, there was a bit about looking at what you have and what can you let go of, but when you let go of it, let go with not just throwing it in the garbage, but let going of it with some sort of ritual, and so showing gratitude and giving it to somebody who can also use it. And I actually, I don't know if you're familiar with Marie Kondo. She's like the big organization. She's an organization guru, kind of
okay.
Japanese, really sweet.
Oh, is she, like, tiny? Tiny? No, isn't, like, really
That
cute, like,
tiny
okay.
little sweet
Oh, yes.
Japanese lady.
Yes.
And so in her organization thing, she talks a lot about showing gratitude to
Yes.
things before you let them
I
go.
think that's my most favorite part is when she gets down in a room and thanks it for
Yeah.
what has all been. And I just, I love that, love that, love that. Because I think it is an important part of it.
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, these things did serve you at some point in your life, or the things that, even if it was just like because of something that you bought, it's like that little moment of joy, even if you never really used it again, you maybe that was just something you needed at that time. So and then you can let it go to somebody else, but do it with some sort of gratitude. And I love the idea of incorporating more ritual into your
Mhm.
life for things in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
So that you're conscious about it, because like, doing that actually makes you more conscious of what you're doing and how you're interacting with other things, or how you interact with objects, which all have their own energy, but also how you interact with other people. Like I was saying before, like, well, what about the salesperson?
Mhm.
You know, Being really conscious about that, because like, they're there for a reason, it's a job, yeah, but they're a human being that which you have connectedness with. So having the like, going approaching that with the gratitude for like the fact that they're there,
Mhm. Mhm.
to help you,
Yeah.
just to check stuff out to you, that it's not yet everything is being a robot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, exactly. Be happy for the people contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, and totally, like, especially post-COVID,
Mhm.
when, like, so many people were so isolated,
Mhm.
like, sometimes, like, now it's actually, when you go out, it's like, it's nice to be able to talk to
Yeah.
people and interact,
Right.
even if it's just quickly with the person checking you out at the grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah. Things we took for granted before, but yeah, once it was not there, it was kind of like, oh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
totally,
Mhm.
totally. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I did like this card a lot. Well, I love this deck, and it comes up for me a whole lot, maybe
Yes.
because I am a secret hag.
Yeah, I love the colors
Definitely
of the card too. Like the colors are really
yeah,
pretty.
yes.
Details. Like detailed.
Well, and I collect feathers,
Mhm.
so every feather, that's another great point, actually. Every feather I collect, I look at as a gift from the birds, or from nature, from
Mhm.
goddess, or like maybe a message to me, because I've got like hawk feathers and crow
Nice.
feathers, and I have the most adorable little gold feather that I got was when I was actually in Victoria. There's a butterfly garden
Oh, yes. Yes.
on the way to Boot Charts,
Right.
and, there was, adorable little birds in there, and there was this cute little gold feather that I picked up off of the ground at Capt, and I was just like,
Pretty.
and it's actually on my Ganesha statue
Amazing.
over there,
Nice.
but, and they like hanging out with each other, so because everything has an energy,
Exactly.
whether or not you wanna recognize it or not.
But it does.
Mhm. And it gives me joy, and that's the other thing. Something that gives you joy, I
Mhm.
mean, that's an energy,
Yeah.
and an energy exchange.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and there goes
Right.
back to the playfulness, right? And allowing your child, your inner child, to just have fun with it and not be like, oh, well, that's stupid to just, whatever. No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's fun. So just
Yeah,
enjoy
it's
it.
really stupid if you think of it that way,
Mhm. Yeah.
and
And
it
like
doesn't really matter.
kids. Sorry, no,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, as kids, we collected stuff all the time, and even, like, the
Mhm.
most precious of just regular stone that you'd find on your
Oh,
way
yeah.
walking to school would be, like, the best stone ever, right? It's not a crystal and sparkly, but, Oh.
I got this at, the beach at Mukilteo not too long ago.
Oh,
Isn't that adorable?
I love that. See,
I know,
child
so cute.
collecting. But again,
Yeah.
as a
I
kid, we
still
get
collect things.
so much joy out of it,
Mhm.
and we tend to lose that just because we you know, get mature.
Absolutely.
Don't look at those things.
Well, and that's a sad thing too, really, because I feel like if people were able to hold on to gratitude, they would probably also hold on a little bit more to the wonder of life.
Mhm, the magic. Mhm,
Yeah,
yeah,
because and it makes life more fun. I think it having that like appreciation just livens everything up, and also makes all of your interactions with other people so much more
mhm,
I don't know, joyous and
mhm,
full of energy and positive energy. Like, yeah, gratitude definitely is one of those, they talk about it so much, having, like, the attitude of gratitude and, like,
Mhm.
how gratitude is, like, you're so beneficial for just not just your, like, mindset, but just, like, your overall well-being,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it just kind of, yeah, it will infuse every aspect, and there's different flavors of it, because like, that gratitude, is also about appreciation and also about, like, wonderment,
Mhm.
like, the fact that we even have this planet that's so gorgeous and beautiful,
Mhm.
where we can exist, where it was had the perfect conditions to create human life, it's like, yeah, you should be grateful for that every day,
Mhm.
you
Yeah, definitely. Definitely,
know?
100%. Yeah, makes a difference. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, I'm not gonna say, that my card's gonna 100% lead in with that, but kind of our interrelationship-wise, the card that I got for the audience was, this card, which I love, actually. It's from this deck. It's one of my favorite, well, I say one of my favorites. Every time I say it's one of my favorites, but this one, I just love the artwork on this particular deck. And the card, that came up was Vision Quest.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah.
Oh, I like that. That looks so cool.
The artwork in here is just, and the colors. I just love the colors, all the blues and the golds and stuff. And it's just, it's a really pretty, pretty deck.
Yeah.
So the message out of that one, pondered it, and we talked about it a bit, to do with our ancestors and stories that get passed along. And then there was, um, the mention of like hieroglyphics and being able to decipher the language and being able to leave. They talk about, like the wonderment of nature and the divine qualities of nature, things we didn't understand early on would be, painted in caves. And so that, it could be passed along either as warnings or like maybe, when it's a good time to plant the crops or when it's a good time to harvest, as they learned things and passed it along. And talking about your message of like taking things on or leaving stuff. We're bombarded today with so many things when we think of messages, and now we're getting into to AI, not to get into AI, but things that aren't real. And I was thinking of you. I saw a gentleman talking about AI, and he's like, cat videos are going to be a thing of the past. And how entertained we are by these cute little kitty cats who like jump up on shelves and miss it, and then look like nobody saw that, like they're cute little expressions, being taken over by like AI making cat videos of things that don't even kind of sort of makes sense. Like it's something that wouldn't actually like be in reality, but, kind of over exaggerating something. So, I mean, the pure enjoyment is watching the actual cat be silly or try and be like not noticed if they do something, whatever. The entertainment is in the fact that that's who they are and how they're interacting, not about, making something that resembles. And so I just think the message here goes with the importance of knowing what's important, and again discernment of messages and things that we see, and you know again interacting with people one on one, having gratitude for actual people who are doing the actual work of getting us our food, or you know making sure that the water filtration plant is working optimally. Like, there's so many things that we need to be grateful for that people are involved in. And I just think we've got so much information. It's not about going to that, one cave where there's that one indication of here's what you need to know for this week or this year. There's just so much. And I think it's just really important to kind of go back to more basic stuff, and just again the blessing of water, just taking that minute to just or the word, you've got love underneath your water as well. That's a great thing to do too, because we're water as well, so affected with words, affected with images, and I think we minimize that. And I think there needs to be kind of a little relook at that, because, it just can change things and make us more paranoid, or make us more angry, or make us more, we don't even realize it. And it's not even necessarily our energy that's there. We could just be taking it in, and, be more fearful than we actually are. And you're like, why am I? But you could have seen something. And yeah. And I mean, I know it's okay in doses, and it's always fun to go to a movie and you get all like, all heightened up in the moment if it's an action one, but then then you leave that. But if it's kind of constant, and watching the news and listening to the news, and who knows what's the news, because even, to do with food, it's like, oh, eat this, it's the best thing. Oh, don't eat that. And then it's the opposite day. And then you're like, what? Can't eat anymore. Right. So just, go back to simple.
Yeah, and we talked about that, approaching food with your energy and your intention, like eating something healthy, but with like, oh, you'll be able to eat this, is not as healthy as eating something that's crap.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, oh, I love this so much, and you feel good when you eat it, and because there's, of course, as you know, I'm doing the body code certification. I recently did emotion code, and which is part of the body code, and one of the things that's in there is like emotional reverberations. And that's basically like a trapped emotion that's kind of like, it's almost like it's always being expressed, even though it's not. It's kind of like diffused throughout your body, even though it's not something that you necessarily are aware that you're experiencing right now. But like you can have these emotional reverberations of really dark negative things like hatred or anger, and that is not good for your system, because much like the water crystals, when you expose the water crystals to words like hate and they get all broken and ugly, that is happening in your body. So releasing that stuff is really, really important, because you don't want that going on. You want to, and yes, you can counter that every day with other stuff, but it's like you're in this constant battle almost, of like, trying to, like, if you can't release it, if you're not conscious of this work, or like how like maybe past traumas are like affecting you, and you're kind of going on blindly, then you can just be slowly having your system be under attack by something stuck in your own body. It's like you mentioned movies. When I was much younger, much younger, I did enjoy certain horror films, stuff like that. Like Peter Jackson's got a really funny one called Dead Alive, and of course there's Sam Raimi Evil Dead, and like those are, to me, they're so campy, they're not really scary. But then there's other stuff that are pretty, gruesome or whatever, which I cannot watch. And even the ones that are campy, it's a little bit too much for me now, because that emotional, that energy is no longer there for me.
It doesn't
Like,
resonate.
yeah, I've really released so much of that stuff. And I've, like, after doing Reiki, and like, especially years and years of this work, I'm just like, I can't deal with the violence on television. I can't deal with violence, like graphic violence scenes in movies anymore. It, like, I was watching something with my boyfriend the other, a couple months ago or whatever, and I was doing this the entire time
Oh, wow.
because it was so awful.
Yeah.
Because, oh yeah, and like we went to a movie with friends, and like it was just awful. It was so awful. Like, I was so glad I didn't pay for it, because like I literally was doing this the entire time
Wow.
through the movie, because it was just so violent
Yeah.
and disgusting, and
Well, and
I
it's
mean,
awful too, because now that they have such special effects and things, like it
yes,
makes it look so much more real, as opposed to, rubber arm falling off over here or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it looks so
and
real.
it's so over the top,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then you gotta think, what is that really doing to the people who are watching it and paying attention,
Mhm.
and, what reverberations and what patterns is that creating in your
Yeah.
system? Because like you said, we are mostly water,
Mhm.
and we're being affected by that
Yeah.
stuff,
And I think it's horror movies, yeah. And I think it can be insidious too. Like, we don't think of even like heartfelt movies as well, like when there's a illness or something, like, if you watch a lot of shows like that also, I
Mhm.
feel, has a possible impact as well, like, I don't know. Everybody should be just watching fun musicals or something. But, because
Yeah.
it gets your head like, oh, they have X disease. And then you're like, oh, what's that? And then before you know it,
Yeah.
you start seeing things because your attention's been drawn to it. And, it gets your mind going. It's like, oh, do I have that symptom? Did that happen? And like, it's human nature, right? We get curious, and
Yeah.
you just kind of get attracted to something because you're like, oh, and then you worry, and then you think, maybe some people don't, but I just feel it's like too easy of a trail to go down, and it's better to maybe not,
Mhm.
and just watch, more joyful things. Obviously, there's pain and suffering in life, in real life, but I think, having that as a constant in your energy field, maybe not so.
It's not healthy. It's kinda like having a diet of, like, sugar all the time.
Mhm.
Where, like, I mean, a little bit of sweetness is great. Too much sweetness,
Yeah,
too much
anything.
sugar is
Yeah.
so awful for you. It's
Mhm.
promotes inflammation, which is, like, second only to stress, I think, because
Yeah.
stress also promotes inflammation.
Right.
But, like, I mean, you don't really I mean, it's just too much. That's the thing. When I watch television or whatever movies now, I'm definitely comedies,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, exactly.
Something like Ted Lasso is at least uplifting,
Mhm.
or, like, there's a
Yeah.
really another funny show called Schmigadoon. It's which
Mhm.
you 'cause you mentioned, musicals and stuff
Right.
like that,
Right.
but, like, something that's, like, more uplifting, or at least where you can laugh instead
Mhm.
of, like, having, just, like, horrible scenes thrown at you. Because, like you said, things are like, with graphics, the CGI and stuff, it's
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
disturbing, and, yeah, I can't watch that stuff
Yeah.
anymore, So, which I feel is says at least a lot about my growth, because
Mm.
before I used to, like, a long time ago, I used to be able to watch that stuff and it totally didn't faze me.
Right. Right.
But now, nope.
Well,
Or either that, or just things have gotten so much worse in my dotage, like, there's as a
yeah. Like, not good.
It's just gotten so over the top. It's like some shows where, like, maybe when they started out weren't too bad, but they just keep pushing the line, and
Mhm.
it's like, where's the end? And it's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
and it's I don't know, it's I don't
It's
know.
not
I don't
for
get it.
it's not for carrying the story or for
No.
character development or for any kind of, it's really just for shock value and, you know, yeah.
Well, it's like the news, it's like that's why 24-hour news cycle is so destructive,
Mhm.
or one of the reasons, I should say, because, like, the bad news is what sells
Mhm.
advertising,
Mhm.
and, they put it on this cycle, and then, like, you watch news too much and you just become, like, so depressed. I know, when I was, married to my first husband, he was a political news junkie, and
Mhm.
it was during the first Bush administration, and I got to a point where I was like, we need to go live in the woods with a lot of guns and protect ourselves, just because I had become so paranoid
Right.
because of all the negative
Mhm.
thing. It's why I don't watch news
Yeah.
now. It's like I'm aware of what's going on. I hear little bits, but I do not watch
Yeah.
news,
Yeah.
like that. I catch up with little things here and there,
Mhm.
but and if I do watch anything, it's like would be like, what's that guy's name? Stephen Colbert or John
Right.
Oliver, like those sorts of
Yeah.
things,
Right.
because at least I get to know a little bit, and it's steeped in comedy,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's horrible funny.
Yeah. Exactly. You get enough. You get enough from it.
Yeah.
And then more
I
entertaining.
get enough information
Yeah.
and whatever, but, yeah, when you are constantly steeping yourself in negativity, it is
Yeah.
not a healthy road to go down mentally or emotionally, and I feel like it's probably contributing a lot to, mental issues and emotional issues in our society.
Well, especially with social media and scrolling and phone scrolling,
Mhm.
and
Oh, yeah.
just like, yeah, I mean, definitely, it just keeps bombarding you. and it's addictive as well, right? So that's it's a double.
Well, and then they feed you the algorithms. If you watch one naughty or like thing that isn't like positive or stuff, it like keeps feeding you the same sort of like negative algorithms. It's one of the reasons I don't go on Facebook anymore, because I have so many like animal welfare things. And like I'll go on because I have to connect with people. It's one of the reasons I keep it is just for connection with people and stuff. But now, of course, I'm putting, we put our new podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
But if I go down the wall too far, they'll like, be like an image of a dead wolf or something. And it's like, I cannot see that.
Yeah.
I already give you money. I'm not the audience for showing dead animals. It's like PETA. It's like I love the idea of the people for ethical treatment of animals, but I personally do not need to see animals being tortured. I think it's too disturbing. It's not something I would do, and I already give money to animal welfare stuff, because that's for me that's what's nearest and dearest to my heart. Because they can't really protect themselves against us or things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, it just makes me think of a body code session I did for a kitty cat recently. And then the owner said, or his person said, like how he and his siblings, his litter mates, had been abandoned. And it's like the emotions that came up, trapped emotions for the poor little guy were just awful. And he's only 6 years old and he's got liver disease. And it's like, no wonder, because of the trapped emotions.
Right. Right. It's a little trauma.
Because they were all the ones, they're all the ones that kind of affect the liver or generated by the liver.
Right.
Poor guy, and it's like anybody who thinks that animals don't have emotions or are unique little individual souls is like nuts. They don't never actually interacted with an animal, or they're sociopaths.
Right.
Not to be all judgy about it, but I'm being a little bit judgy about it.
No, we're not being judgy. But
that's their path, their journey, blah blah blah. A little judgy.
Just a little bit. Just for the little fur babies. Just for the fur babies.
I know. But that's also why, that again, that's one of my things that of course I am working on is my judgment.
Yeah. Well,
around things, certain aspects.
Okay. That's okay. So the fur babies are worth the judgment.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they get my money. Anyway.
Cute. So have we tied in with our theme?
I have no idea, frankly. It's a little all over the place, but that's okay. Whatever.
So rituals, gratefulness.
There's only one person listening at this point anyway, and it's you.
And it's me. Exactly. Hi, you.
We all know who that is. I'm just teasing, but like, that's the thing. These conversations always kind of like go on have a life of their own.
They do.
I think that's okay.
They bring us.
So, did we touch on everything? I don't know. Does it all make sense? I don't know.
Kind of makes sense to us, I think. Maybe.
It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Yeah. I guess if you do it in different like little chunks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think major takeaways today would be bless your water. Have gratitude as many times during the day as you can and keep it simple and playful. And just know that we're all connected. We're all trying. And every day is a new day to try better, do better, and make the world a better place than it was the day before.
And that's actually a really great point to end on, Kim, is every day is a new day. Yesterday does not have to define today or tomorrow, because yesterday, a lot of this is like with healing is to release the things, to heal the things that are keeping you from having that sense of gratitude. Because I will say that is something that I did struggle with for a long time, like really being able to feel gratitude. I'd have to focus on specific things that I was grateful for in order to feel a general sense of gratitude. Just because of all the, the past history and stuff. And so, but healing is all about releasing that stuff so it doesn't have power over you, we talked about before as well. Forgiveness and healing is all about releasing that stuff so that it is no longer affecting you today. So it's like we were talking about with the body code, releasing those trapped emotions or emotional reverberations or whatever. So that's not affecting you anymore. And then when you can get to this part, and if you have difficulty feeling grateful or having that sense of gratitude, think about one person in your life that you're truly grateful for. One thing in your life that you really are grateful for, and think about that, and you can actually kind of train yourself to like really experience that. And then as you do that, it'll be easier also, I feel like, to get to that point of forgiveness and releasing stuff so that it's no longer having that power over you or having an effect on you in the present, or it's less and less every day, because I mean, healing now, it's a journey.
Yeah. And
So
it's kind of like too, it's like a muscle memory for jumping into the gratitude thing. So if you do, struggle with it in the beginning, to make it into like a habit, right? Like anything else, just do it bit by bits, put reminders around. Oh, don't forget to feel gratitude for something today. Just, mark it in your calendar or something as a little reminder that'll come up. And like you said, if you have a hard time getting that overall general feeling, honing in on one, it could be like your favorite teacup. You're grateful for having this beautiful cup that, you drink your tea in every morning, or you're grateful for your car starting, or, I mean, like there's so many things that you could pick that don't have to be grandiose and, grateful for the whole world and grateful for, you can really start small, and every bit of gratitude counts as far as I'm concerned. And because it just gets to that zone, and it will just bring more of that to you. So then you'll have even more things to be grateful for because you're attracting that in. So it's a win-win. So you give it out, you get it back. Give it in, you give it
absolutely.
back. So, yeah.
I love that. And I'm grateful for you.
And I'm grateful for you.
Yay. I'm grateful for the audience and all the people who like and subscribe.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's bump up our numbers so we can get to the point where we start getting free Oracle decks.
Oracle decks, yes.
Just teasing, sort of. No, we really are grateful to our viewers and everyone who likes and subscribe, because the other thing is when we see a comment about how something we've said has helped somebody, that I'm also really, really grateful for that, because it helps. It makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like, what we're doing matters and is important. And with this podcast, if we only help a few people, I feel like that's worth it.
Because it will be a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Right? Because they might tell a friend or two friends, and they'll pass on a message that they heard, and that might make a difference in their life too, even if they don't watch the videos. So
and even if we don't get free Oracle decks, that's
even if we don't get that's okay. I'm totally okay with that.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. So we definitely love all the positive comments. Thank you so much, everyone. And yay. Yeah. Very grateful.
Well, thank you all for watching this far or at all. And please, if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and just have a really lovely day and rest of your week until we meet again.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks for watching Kim and Angela talk. Please like and subscribe below. To book sessions with Kim, visit keycranio.com. To book sessions with Angela, visit thisreikilife.com. Thank you.